What is the best background check for dating? In this video, we're going to go over your options. And to get started, go to sheriffsdepartment.net. What this website has is a database of all the state resources available to the public to do background checks on people. And for this example, I'm going to use the state of Idaho. Most states will have a very similar structure. Some states are going to be a little bit easier, some are going to be a little bit harder, but majority of the states will have a very similar process to what I'm about to show you. But I gotta grab a state, so I'm going to go with Idaho. And the first thing you see here is you have an option to do a name search. This is an instant search. It'll scan anybody's name. You can plug anybody's name in there. It will give you a nationwide, a bigger picture look at somebody's background history. Includes all the public records. It also gives you social media and things that most people aren't even thinking about when it comes to researching people. Especially when it comes to dating, definitely give it a try. Next would be your state resources. So in Idaho, you have when it comes to doing any kind of a background check, you have your essentials, which are court records, criminal records, maybe not always driving records depending on what type of a check it is, business lookup, incarceration records, prison records, sexual offender registry. So you definitely want to take a look at these record types. Sometimes also you might want to go county specific. For example, jail records at the local sheriff's office, if you want to look at mugshots, arrests, things like that. The local sheriff's office and police departments will have those records. If you want to see if somebody owns any real estate, that's also done at the county level, so you could look at property records. I'm going to go over the major, most sought after record types here, and I'll start with court records. And in Idaho, for an example, they cover 40 counties, so it's a pretty centralized search. Anybody can come in and just plug a name in here and find information about anybody that's been in the court. And court will involve civil records, criminal records, things like that, which is perfect for researching dates, or pretty much for any kind of a background check. This is going to be great. You also have the option to do a criminal record check, and this will specifically focus on criminal activity. It's a little bit more complicated. There are forms, there are fees involved with this type of a check. Fingerprint based services are typically reserved for people hiring people. A name-based search is probably going to be a more likely scenario if somebody's doing a background check on their date. They do offer, or they do charge a fee for this. And just a quick note here, this is going to limit the search to the state that you're doing the background check in. So unless they have an option for a nationwide check, which a lot of times they won't, it's state specific. So if a person has moved around, if they lived in another state, if they traveled, a lot of times there's a paper trail, there's criminal records that could be coming out of different states. That's why you should couple the local search with the nationwide search, and you'll have a pretty complete picture, and make sure like nothing is missed. So this covers the background check, or criminal record background check. Some driving records, we're not going to go into that. Business lookup, prison records, and then of course the sexual offender registry. So if you like to find out if your date owns any businesses or has owned any businesses, maybe they went out of business, maybe they said they were a contractor, and you want to verify that information is correct, you can actually pull up a business by its name. Department of Corrections, this will give you prison records. So if anybody has been in prison, you can look it up. It's going to be state specific, so if you might want to check even the states around whatever state you're doing the research in. Or again, try the nationwide check also. It'll give you some clues as to if the person has traveled or lived in other places. And then of course the final would be the sex offender registry, and every state has a state provided database to search sex offenders. Sometimes the local sheriff's office will have their own databases too. But these are probably the most sought after record types when it comes to doing professional background checks. So if you're doing a background check on a date, this should suffice. And again, if you want to dig even deeper, you could go do it at the county level, not necessarily even at the state level. And then don't forget to take a look at if there's anything going on nationwide. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a link for sheriffsdepartment.net in the description. You can also just type it into your browser and get started. Thanks for listening.